Welcome to Lickin' on Lending, the podcast that dives deep into the heart of the mortgage industry. Your host, David Lickin, bringing you the latest insights, trends, and updates from the world of mortgages. Whether you're a seasoned industry veteran or just getting started, this show is your go-to source for all things mortgage. Let's get started. This is Lickin' on Lending. Now your host, David Lickin.
Folks, I'm excited about today's podcast because we're going to be talking about some tools that you can use that can make a huge difference in your origination life in 2026. Joining me today is my good friend, Dan Catinella. It's good to have him here with Total Expert. Dan, good to have you back, friend.
Thank you, David. Always a pleasure jumping on with you, my friend.
Always a pleasure to have you back.
You look even better today in that beautiful
I know, I got a
Total Expert shirt.
Yeah, I love this one. Yeah, it's one of the, I've worn this in so many places. You guys got some great merch. So people, if you go to any of your conferences, you can get the merch there. Those stocky hats you handed out in at the Mile High City.
Hey, everybody likes the swag, man.
Yeah, the swag is good stuff. You guys really got quality stuff. I'm going to Belize. I'm going to be wearing from a couple of years ago when we were in San Diego. There was a hoodie pullover that I'm wearing that in Belize. It was perfect beach wear. So wearing that one. So
all right.
We'll be talking about you. But anyway, it's good to have you with us, friend. I really want to talk about some things. When you and I were talking the other day, you were talking about a recent study that really reveals how much follow-up is necessary. I want to get into that. But Dan, when you talk about the evolution of CRM at Total Expert, how is that fundamentally different from the traditional systems lenders and loan officers have been using for years?
Yeah, I think the easiest way that I kind of frame it is if you're still thinking of your CRM as this static Rolodex of contacts, you are totally missing the boat and you're living in like the Stone Age. Everything now, we actually believe Total Expert has evolved to be a customer operating system. Yeah. And that means really a living, breathing, fundamentally data-enriched contacts that if I bring up David in my database, I don't expect to just see David when, in his profile when I transacted with you 3 years ago. But I expect these days with data intelligence to understand, hey, what's David's credit profile look like today? What's the tappable equity he has in home? What's the interest rate I could potentially offer him on a rate and term refinance? Did he have just recent significant life events and changes in his life? Really powering your ability to understand who to contact, when to contact, what the next potential opportunity is so that you can leverage the automation to really engage every single consumer at a hyper-personalized and compliant way.
Wow, there's a lot in that when you're talking about actionable data, intelligent data. And that's what really we're going to be getting into in this interview, because you guys provide so much of that. You actually have developed the tools at Total Expert to be able to do just that. How is that version actually translating into today on a day-to-day value for both lenders and individual loan officers on the front lines?
Yeah, so our data product that's natively integrated and threaded throughout our entire customer operating system, we call Customer IQ. Right. And it's really kind of the brains and the context layer that can constantly, on a daily basis, think of it as kind of refreshes your database and enriches every single consumer in your database so that you understand where they are today, not just from that previous transaction. That then kind of powers the rest of our automation and orchestration engine, and now coupled with some of our agentic AI capabilities, we can even do human-like outreach to those consumers on behalf of the originators. So think about outreaching to every single consumer in your database constantly and consistently at a scale that's never before seen, when the market maybe dips by a half of a point and half your database is in the money for a refinance, right? Yeah. Most originators will tell you, hey, Dan, it's going to take me 60 days to outreach to that pipeline of refis. And by the way, I don't want to distract myself from all my purchase business and the lifeblood of my referral partners. So this basically technology allows us to sit on top of every originator's database and understand the propensity of every consumer's ability to transact for their next purchase or refinance, and then having these agentic AI capabilities that act on behalf of the originator to, outreach to their consumers, have a personalized conversation based off of what that next opportunity is. And then it can do one of two things. It can then do a warm transfer to the originator and say, hey, I got David on the phone. He's interested in a refinance because the market just moved. Do you want to take this call? And David, you may say, you know what, I'm walking into my best agent's office right now. I can't take it right now. Schedule a meeting. So it'll actually dip into your calendar, understand your availability, and place that meeting on your calendar based on your own availability. So we have originators coming in today that may have 3 refinance opportunities on their calendar that they literally did nothing to obtain. But we know one thing, retail originators especially are fantastic at taking inbound opportunities and converting them into transactions. What they're not great at, or they won't do, can't do consistently, or can't do at the scale that may be mandated to maximize those conversions, is it's all that prospecting, that follow-up, and all those types of activities that sometimes get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, and so much does get lost in the shuffle. When you're talking about the ability to connect with people with intelligent data, where it's current, that's the part that just blows me away.
It's got to be current.
It is being able to have it be so current. So I'm getting remarried, and you would have that information. I'm moving. Based on all this information,
absolutely.
And that changes up the conversation. All of a sudden, I feel like you're not just a distant partner. You're somehow staying up on me, and is that overall well received, or does it scary from the too much data, too much information?
I don't know that there's ever too much data. Data is a powerful tool, and it's how do you use that data to build a relationship with the consumer and help you build stickiness, because you don't want to, let's just say I get a notification that David just went through a divorce. That's not it. Hey, Sally Sue, you really, shouldn't have gone down that path, right? The engagement strategy based on the data is really critical, important. But our whole goal is really about the simplicity of, if we can connect more consumers in the moments that matter with their originators, we know that will always breed success.
And the truth of the matter is, Dan, we're all getting used to everybody knowing everything about us anyway. It's all out there. Our phone calls get listened to. Everything gets listened to, it seems. So it's not, I think the barrier to having that much data available to loan originators is a good thing, and is kind of expected in this day and age. We talk about AI. It's everywhere in mortgage tech right now. What makes Total Expert's approach to AI meaningfully different, and where are customers already seeing an impact?
Yeah. So garbage in, garbage out, and it's all about the data. So, we feel like we are extremely well positioned with the investments we made over the last several years, because we were, for over 4 years now, we've been really focused on building out this customer IQ capability so that we build this foundation of data based on current information. You think about layering agentic AI on stale data, right? If I had somebody reach out to you, whether it's starting a voice conversation or a text message conversation, and start talking about something that was 3 years age, you would immediately get disengaged and turned off as a consumer, right? So our foundation is really built on the always updating, most comprehensive financial picture of every single consumer that sits in your database. So if we ground on that, and then you layer on the agentic AI capabilities, so now when I do that, orchestrate that outreach, whether that's voice, text message, email, I can now layer on personalized information based off of David today, not stale data from years past. That's really where we're focusing on, is kind of that orchestrating of that engagement. Voice is what we launched, the furthest widespread through our customer base today. So we have what we call AI Sales Assistant, which is a human-like voice conversation that can sit on top of your database, understands opportunities in your database, and then automatically does the outreach on behalf of the originator to every single one of your consumers with that personalized conversation.
Yeah, and it's a conversation. That's the part I want to stress. That's the part when, first of all, you guys put on one of the best conferences, the one that you had at Denver. It was just spectacular.
Yeah,
Again,
Accelerate's amazing. We have our events people are just absolutely tremendous.
They crush it every year. But it's the content, but it's also the innovation that you're talking about. It's the conversational part of it. AI sales assistant is one that interacts with you, but it converses intelligently, imperceptibly. It's very difficult to discern that I'm not talking to Dan or Dan's assistant.
Yeah, the quality, what we constantly get, because there are a lot of AI voice solutions out there on the market. I feel like I talk to another one every 4 days that wants to integrate with us. But the quality of the conversations is so dramatically different. Anybody can build an AI voice agent in a few days nowadays with the tools that are available. But to build one that's going to have such a personalized conversation, and the quality of the conversations doesn't have a lot of latency in those conversations, so you're not waiting for the agentic AI agent to respond back to me when I correspond with it, is all super critically important. We have less than 10% of consumers that are engaged with this technology that even understand that it's AI or ask that it's AI. So in most cases, they just think it's a virtual assistant for their loan originator.
Yeah. I'm hearing recently a story about an agent that was working, an AI agent that was working on behalf, and it completed the whole transaction. I took it so far down the road, and the customer was so impressed they had to come in and meet the person that was represented. And the staff said, well, she's at lunch. And they go, oh, she's at lunch? Oh, well, we'll wait because we're so impressed. We just got to say thank you. We got this transaction done because of her. And they go, well, she's going to be a long lunch. We just got a phone. They were delaying. Finally, they had to come out because they were so persistent and said, you were talking to a computer. I hate to say it, but they go like, you're kidding me. That was so real. And they weren't offended. They weren't put back. They were just blown away with the quality of it. But it's just so true. One of the things that in our last conversation that we had prepping for this podcast interview is you recently commissioned a study on one of your major lenders. We won't mention the name of the lender, but it was really interesting that you, if I recall correctly, it made 50,000 calls and there were 6,000 consumers engaged as a result of this. Talk about
so
this. It was amazing.
One of our customers, a top 10 lender, we won't mention their name. We launched a early adopter program inside their organization. So they have over 2,000 originators. We launched an early adopter program with some of their producers that wanted to opt in and be part of this program. So we launched that with 65 of their 2,000 loan officers. So pretty consolidated, early adopter program. In the first 45 days, we layered this on top of their database. We plugged it.
When you say layered it, explain what you mean by layered.
Yeah, so as part of our journey automation, we can basically say at different points in the loan process or different data triggers, we can automatically orchestrate this voice AI agent to call on behalf of the originator. So we basically sat it on top of our customer IQ capabilities, and we looked at credit inquiries. So somebody gets their credit pulled by another lender. Refinance opportunities. So somebody's in the money for a refinance based off of estimated monthly savings. And we also have what we call periodic mortgage review. So most originators don't follow up with their past customers. We know that's like an old time thing, right? Yep. I've been in front of thousands and thousands of originators, and I ask a simple question: how many of you are reaching out to your past customers at least twice a year? Not a single hand raises, David.
Isn't that amazing?
It's amazing. But so those three use cases. So I'm going to call your customers twice a year. I'm going to, understand if somebody's in the money for a refinance. I'm going to immediately react when the market moves to those. And then if somebody, gets their credit pulled by another lender within milliseconds, I'm outreaching to those customers to try to bring them back into your funnel, right? So for those three use cases over a 45-day period, we initiated over 50,000 calls for those 65 LOs. So remember, there's a lot of follow-ups that go on. There's voicemails that we drop.
What does that work out? I'd have to do the math. 50,000 on 60. That's
about 6,000 consumers we've engaged. So it was, this was in December timeframe, so there was some positive market movement in our favor. So a lot of good refinance opportunities. 70% of those 6,000 consumers engaged were transferred to an originator, either a live transfer.
What percentage?
17% of those 6,000.
Wow, 17%.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they were either transferred via a live transfer, or we scheduled a meeting and placed them on their calendar. And already in that 45-day time frame, we saw over 30 million in attributed application volume, about 130 units for that 65 loan officers. The interesting stat is out of that 70% that got transferred, 30% of those transfers happen after 7 or more follow-up attempts.
See, that's the thing that when we were talking about 7 or more.
Yeah.
How many loan originators are even doing 1 or 2 follow-ups?
Right.
And it took 7 to get to that 17%. This is technology and a tool that is going to start revolutionizing companies. There's going to be companies that have this and prosper, and those that don't and fail. I mean, it's just pretty clear. That's it to that extent. Am I wrong?
It's going to become the new norm for sure. Yeah. But the key to unlocking the success is really around the data. Yeah. If you don't understand David deeply today, your profile, what the next best way to engage you, how to frame the conversation based off of previous conversations, how much tappable equity you have, what's your credit position, what's the interest rate that I could offer you today, you really can't get to that high conversion rate of that conversation.
One of the recent podcasts we recorded was with Mike and Jessica from Assurance. She gave story after story of how this is making a huge difference in their company. So you've just commissioned this one study, but it's not a unique thing. Jessica came on and just really sang the praises of Total Expert about what a difference it's making in their company. And they launched it company-wide.
Yeah. Yeah, so the interesting thing about insurance is they have a decent sized servicing portfolio. So anybody that has servicing portfolios is in a incredible advantage because you don't necessarily need consent from the consumer to leverage this technology. So you have an established business relationship with that consumer, so you can really kind of set this off in the wild. Some of the IMBs that we work with that do not retain servicing, we have some strategies to obtain consent from the consumer, so that you can leverage this. But it is going to be definitely a differentiator in the future. Is the lenders that have consent and can maintain ongoing consent for a consumer are really going to set and leverage this capability to the next level for sure.
And it's important that we stress that because there is a consent that is required with the new laws that are coming in March next month. And we're really going to be seeing a dramatic requirement that has to be made. But that's not insurmountable. I mean, that's the thing I love about what you guys, when you partner with your customers at Total Expert, you're really helping them understand the rules. Now, you're not giving legal advice. I know you guys are being very careful
Guidance.
about it.
We try to guide them based off of all the opportunity we have to see different people doing different things in the market. So it's more just sharing some of the best practices and things that we have the opportunity to see.
Yeah, when you look ahead, how do you see the role of a loan officer evolving as Total Expert becomes more intelligent and AI takes on more and more of the operational engagement workload?
So in my opinion, in probably the next 3 years, I think where you're going to see the modern originator of the future is being able to focus on the things that they do best, which is providing strategic advice, deepening relationships, and embedding themselves in their local community. So think of them as evolving to business development, specialists that are licensed, can talk product and price, can do all the things that a licensed originator does and are typically really good at. Where they're going to not have to spend as much time as all of the prospecting, the follow-up, task completions, sending SMS messages consistently, outreaching on phone calls, getting meetings scheduled. All of that minutia will go away and be handled by AI agents of the future for sure.
Yeah. And when you start thinking about those that have Total Expert and are using these tools, have employed these tools that Total Expert offers, it's a significant recruiting advantage when it comes to
we're already seeing it. So we have over 25 customers fully live on this capability that we just talked about.
Already, really?
With our AI sales assistant, a lot at full scale across their whole organizations. And we're already seeing them and hearing them use this in their recruiting efforts for sure.
Yeah, it's amazing. I was just talking to our good friend, Greg Scheer, and he was saying how this has just revolutionized their business and how they're going after both recruiting and just building the production.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Dan, it's so good to have you back on. It's exciting. As I look to the future, it's good to see that we have Total Expert as driving this forward. And you're a Minnesota-based company, my homeland. I love that.
Yeah. We are Minnesota-based. Not so great this time of year, how frigid it is, but man, we like it in the summer better.
Yeah, we do, except for those mosquitoes. It's so good to have you on, Dan. Kudos to everyone there, a Total Expert on your success and continuing to do the innovation and bring the innovation to the market such as you are.
Thank you, David. Appreciate you having me on.
Folks, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. We're trying to bring you up-to-the-date information, what's making a difference at companies. This one was one of those you'll want to share with others in your organization. It's made possible by Title Ease, Byte Software, First Close, Angel AI, True, Mortgage Bankers Association of America, Lenders One, Modex, Redder, Mortgage Advisory Tools, and Fuel Inc. Have a blessed rest of your day. Good to have you here, and we look forward to having you back for the next podcast.
You've been listening to Lickin' on Lending. Our passion is to bring you the latest insights, trends, and updates from the world of mortgages. So on this show, if you're a seasoned industry veteran or just getting started, it's your go-to source for all things mortgage. We hope you've enjoyed the show. We'll be back soon. Take care, and we'll see you next time on Lickin' on Lending.